My name is Eric Villalobos. I got real nervous when Pastor Nate asked me to come up and do this, I was born in 1966, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself real quick. I was born in 66, and first generation here. Both my parents came from Mexico. And growing up, not speaking a lick of English, was very difficult for me. I fell way behind in the schooling system, it was just real difficult. And growing up like that, for me anyway, from brothers and sisters went so bad, I don't know why, I never understood that. They were okay with it. I guess I always looked for approval from other people. Always looking for approval from other people, my peers and my friends or whatever. Most of the time just a loner. Always by myself. When I was young, I remember walking up and down the sidewalk talking to God. I remember that now. I didn't at the time. And asking him why, hey man, why you got to do this stuff already? I'm only 5 and 6 years old at the time, I would look at everybody around me, they all had nice clothes, not so much for me. I was a middle child, so all I ever got was hand-me-downs. I would see my older brother with new clothes, my younger brother with new clothes, but I got the hand-me-downs. My younger brother was too small to get mine, so he got new clothes. But it was okay, in school, I was always told that I would never amount to nothing. And I believed it. I truly did. I didn't care to learn anything. I really knew that I was smart. I had a good head on my shoulders, that I understood a lot. I didn't know how to write or read. And that just went on for years and years now. At the age of 12, I was introduced to some drugs. And that's when I started doing drugs at the age of 12. And drinking and smoking. I did everything. I got locked up for the first time at the age of 12 also. I didn't know God, didn't know Jesus, I had no idea who they were. I was brought up Catholic, but we attended church very sparingly, once or twice a year. Probably more than that, but I just don't really remember, or did I really care? When I got locked up, I thought to myself, wow, people like me, wow, this is cool. So I accepted that. And these people liked me because of the things I would do and that I did. Further on in life, through my drug use and alcoholism, I realized, hey man, I'm pretty good at sports. And that was cool. I got a lot of approval for doing things like that, I passed my classes because of it. Still not knowing how to read and write. At the age of 17, I got locked up for a long time. And I was sentenced to 10 years actually. And not knowing God or Jesus yet, somehow, I don't know what happened, they found a discrepancy in my case and the 10 years only turned into a year and a half. And I have no idea. There was no reason or rhyme for it, I honestly thought that I was either gonna die in prison or kill somebody. That was my life for so long. I was blessed to have a daughter at the age of 18, Nicole Christine. She ended up passing away. Sorry. I struggled with that. Very, very badly I struggled with that every day. I made the choice whether she lived or died. I was very immature. Like I said, I was a full-blown alcoholic and a full-blown drug addict. I didn't care about nothing else but those two things. At the age of 20, I had my other son. Never really got close to him while she was pregnant with him, because I thought he was going to die also. And it was a beautiful blessing to reach down and pick him up for the first time. It was pretty cool. Best day of my life, And I had another best day of my life when my youngest son Anthony was born. He's just an inspiration to me now. But at the same time, I was still drinking and drugging every day without fail. We wake up, we take a breath every single day. To me, drinking and doing drugs, that was how I took my breath every day, right there. If I slept, I always strive to do everything to my fullest. If I was going to be, a football player, I was going to be the baddest football player on earth. If I was going to drink, taking care of me. I had no idea. I've been shot at. Doctors have told him many times to get his family over here because he's not going to survive the night. To overdoses, alcohol poisoning, to physical ailments that I've had my whole life. And yet, I stand here still today, not knowing that God had a plan for me. And especially me not knowing who he was to begin with. Why is he going to have a plan for me? I'm nobody. You know? And anyway, moving further on down my life, I reached the age of about 30. And I broke my legs from playing football. And I was told I was going to amputate the legs. And I had 4 back-to-back surgeries in 2 years. And then one day, and this whole time I'm drinking and driving every day without fail, you know what I mean? And not just a little here and there, I'm talking all day long, all night long. Never skipped a beat. And for me, that's embarrassing to say in front of all you guys right now, you know? By the time, I was embarrassed, you know? But I was told I would never walk again. My son was pushing me in a wheelchair one day. And we were by a swap meet, I remember this, and we were in front of the AMPM. And he says, it was hot summer day, man. He says, oh, I gotta take a break, Pops, I'm tired. I looked at him and I looked up and I said, oh, stop. And we're in front of the AMPM, and he says, why, you need a beer? I was like, oh, man, help me out. He helped me up, I turned around and kicked the wheelchair over and I said, let's go. Not having a clue of why I did that, you know? Or like when I'm walking down the street, you know, in the neighborhood I lived in and stuff, I didn't realize why I would take left instead of right, you know? And reading in the paper the next day, it was a mass shooting if I would have took that right, you know? And that has happened to me my entire life. I have never needed or wanted for anything. Struggling, growing up, you know, just poor, not realizing that, hey man, I have socks on my feet, shoes on, and shirt on my back, man. My belly was full every day. I did not know this, you know what I mean? I just took everything for granted. That I had a front door to open to walk into. You know, that I have parents that care for me. But yeah, like I said, you know, at the age of 30 or so, 38 actually is when I started to just go, I mean, really downhill. I lost use of my legs again at 38. And then my parents passed away. They were both shot and murdered. Man, I just went into I got lost. I was already lost, you know what I mean, but this just took me to a whole different level. My drug use and alcoholism, I mean, I thought it was bad before, but this just, you know, it was real bad. And 5 years after that, my little sister committed suicide with this. A couple years later after that, my son, his girlfriend, she was pregnant, so, and about 2.5, 3 years ago, he lost his son. So it's been hard. But like I said, not knowing this whole time who Jesus or God was. I want to say about 8 years ago, I'm 54 now, so about 8 years ago, well, let me back up a bit. I have a younger brother, his name is Joel. Been a devout Christian his entire life. He's never smoked, never drank, never did drugs, none of that. He's put his hands diligently to work for God. And I've seen the blessings that young man has received his entire life. And always being mad, you know, why can I have that? You know? We used to live not too far from each other. We're both electricians, by the way. God gave me the opportunity to become an electrician when my first son was born. I quit my job where I was working at, and still not knowing who God Jesus was, you know what I mean? I said, man, I don't need a job, I need a career. And somehow, I got an opportunity to become an electrician. Never went to school for it. You know, I applied for a job, I lied about it, and I got the owner of the company took me under his wing and taught me everything he knew within 6 months. I was already running jobs. It came natural, not natural, we all know where it came from, you know what I mean? But I didn't know that at the time. Like I said, I was in the biggest, baddest electrician in the world. I was good at that job. But nothing would ever last me. My money never lasted me till the next week, even though I made good money. I just would never go to where I needed to. And the whole time, I was still drinking and drugging, you know. Always made sure that my kids were well fed and had clothes, you know. But like I said, after my parents passed away, I got lost and I gave up custody. I had custody of my children. Let me back up. By the time I was 26 years old, I was already into my second marriage with 3 kids. And thank God that I had a good job. To me, it was a means of support my family and support my drug habit and alcoholism. Yeah, and about 38 or so after my parents passed, my younger brother would always say, every Sunday I'd walk by his house, because we used to live, like I said, just maybe a walk and a half away from each other, raising our separate families. We'd walk by his house all the time. He'd tell me every Sunday without fail, man, hey, come to church with me. And this went on for 20 years now. Come to church with me. Nah, I got good thing. Next Sunday we're like, come to church with me. Nah, man, I can do some better, man, we'll party. Come to church with me. Football's on, Brother Raiders are playing. You know, I got a game to play. My kids are gonna play. I coached football for a long time. And I remember he asked me one day, I was walking by, and I told him yes. I'll never forget the look on that guy's face, man. He dropped to his knees and he started crying. That day, when I went to church, I saw these people, you know, up here, this guy just blah, 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 you know, I don't know what's happening, you know what I mean? I hadn't been to church since I was probably 12 years old. Now I'm 40. You know, my church was in my garage party. And I came, I haven't cared in the world. Yeah, it was just amazing, man. But these people up there talking about this guy named Jesus, man. By then I already knew who Jesus was, you know. In my mind, he's Savior or what, man? You know what I mean? I had no idea, no clue, man. I really didn't. And the farther along I got with that, the more embarrassed I became of not knowing who this guy was or who God was. I knew there was a creator, always known that. You know, but everybody be talking about, oh, you gotta have a personal relationship. I don't even have one with anybody else. I'm only gonna have one with him, you know. But yeah, these people up here talking, and I seen this one guy fell on his knees and started crying. And I remember hearing this exactly what he said, and at that moment I was saved. This guy was a drug alcoholic fighter, been in prison, you know, did all everything I've done. And I remember he fell to his knees and he said, at that moment I was saved. I got home that day. I wasn't sure what being saved meant. I had no idea, you know. Except for the fact that my little brother had explained some things to me in football terms, because I love football, you know. He always told me, hey man, you have a quarterback in your game. I said, yeah man. He says, hey, he's doing all right, you know. And say, Jesus is on the sideline, he's your backup quarterback, right? Not knowing that he should have been my starter. So, put me in the game of life, right? Put me in the game of life. No, cool. Got this quarterback right here, which was myself, you know. Getting my own way. And one day, that same day when I got home, something sparked in me, and I don't know what it was, I really don't. I do now, you know, now I can really say I know exactly what it was. But I went to rehab for the first time. And it was called Changing Ankles. It was up in the hills, and it was a really fancy rehab, so it was kind of cool. I had never, since the age of 12, not one day, I'm serious, guys, not one day had I gone by that I hadn't drank and do drugs. And that's how we're, or fight, you know. It's amazing, but I went to rehab for the first time, and I actually stayed clean for 90 days. And those 90 days, I had gone to church every Sunday. And these people came over my house with a Bible one day. I'd never opened a Bible before in my entire life. To me, it was just something to sit on the table, you know, collecting dust or whatever it may be. And they brought me a Bible, and you know, I thumbed through it, I read through it. Oh, by the way, I learned how to read when I was locked up and write. Through the grace of God only, because I had no idea what I was doing. I picked up the newspaper and started reading. It was amazing. But they brought me a Bible and I started reading it, and I got nothing out of it, absolutely nothing, I really didn't. And about a year after that, I was still drinking and driving. About a year after that, I dropped off, and started doing partying again, doing my thing, Like I said, I was only clean for 90 days. But in those 90 days, something had happened to me, and I had no idea what it was, I had a sense of guilt of my entire life, of what I've done, who I was, and what I have become. Which was not a good person, not a good thing, not a good place to be. I got a chance one day to go to a pastor's house for a Bible study my little brother invited me to. His name's Kim Murray. He runs a Businessman's Fellowship. I went there to the Bible study the first time. Boy, was I high. And I sat there and I listened to John, and I went home with a sense of just terrible guilt on my shoulders and in my mind. And the next Sunday rolled around, and I didn't know why or have any clue. I still don't understand why. But I went again. And the following Sunday, I went again. And I continued to do that, not realizing what was happening in my life, the change that was taking place inside of me. My life has been spared and saved from all the terrible things that I've done, all the guilt that I've accumulated. Throughout my whole life, I didn't know how to love, though. And I do have a beautiful, forgiving heart. God says He gives us all gifts. I didn't know that was a gift. I always thought it was a curse. The way I love people, my children, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, I have a type of love that is like that of a child. I really do. A kid gets really excited when you see the Hot Wheels, Heck, I walk down the aisle in the store and see the toys, I get excited. And when I get a phone call from my son, from me, from Pastor Nate, I get excited before I answer it. I really do. Of course, we've all had things done wrong to us by other people. I have a forgiving heart, and I didn't know I had them, though I've had them my whole life. Except for the fact to forgive myself. I had no idea what that meant, didn't know how, didn't want to know how. Well, I hated who I was. And that's why I did attempt suicide a couple times. Good, didn't work out. But, I've always had a great relationship with my children. Not as good as I've always wanted. Not knowing God or Jesus, I didn't know how to be a parent. Like I said, I'm still immature. I probably always will be. But in a good way now. An absolutely good way. Life is full of regrets if we let it be that way. But it doesn't have to be. And to God and Jesus, I know that it's not that way anymore, that's for sure. But about 6 years ago, I was at Bible study. I was living in Waterford at the time. And I was going to church every Sunday with my brother, still drinking, still running. The pastor there asked me if I wanted to be baptized. I didn't know what that meant. I still only had thumbed through the Bible. I had only read the 4 Gospels, like I said, didn't understand the word of it. Because I didn't know what prayer meant, or what it could do. So I was baptized. Going to all these Bible studies and going to church all the time became part of my life. And it was just, I wouldn't say every Sunday, because a lot of times I would still do my thing, And like I said, I would never skip a beat doing that. Not knowing I should not skip a beat, trusting in God and who He was, and what He's done and has done for me, and what He continues to do, I read a scripture one time. It's actually on the phone in the Bible. It's in Joshua 1:9. It says, Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And in my life, that is just true to the fullest. And I did not know that. He has been with me and before me everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. And until I gave my life to Him, which was only 2 years ago, fully in development that I realized that this Jesus loves me the way I love everybody else. I thought I would have character defects because I love everything so much, you know. But this Jesus character, they kept telling me, oh, he loves you, he'll save you. Save me from what? I don't need saving, I'm true, you know. People couldn't be saving for me, I always thought. You know, so I thought I was just a bad guy, you know. I wanted everybody to fear me and to be afraid of me. And live a lonely existence at that, because of that. But I still love regardless now. And so I was doing drugs one day, man, and drinking. I woke up the next morning, actually my son. This is hard for me to say. We used together, we drank together, we did everything. My son became my best friend, and my road dog, my running partner. Not knowing what I was doing to him. You know, to all the dark roads that I walked down, all the nasty alleys, places I've been, my homelessness, everything now. I didn't realize that I was giving that to my son. Now, looking back on it now, it's a terrible thing, you know, devastating feeling, man. It really is. One day, we were happy. And then one day he said, I called him for like a month straight, every day. He wouldn't answer. Well, yeah, son, he didn't answer. And then he called me up out of the blue about a month and a half later. I said, what are you doing, man? He says, sorry, Pops, I can't hang with you no more. And that just devastated me, man. It just blew me away, you know. My little boy, I had lost him a while back, as far as, you know, the love. I mean, I love him, don't get me wrong. I love him just as I love anybody but my other son. We don't have that closeness as we used to because of me. That has nothing to do with him whatsoever. He's a good boy. He's got baby on boy, by the way. But yeah, my son told me, I can't hang with you, Pops. And in my mind, I'm thinking, crap, man, I didn't give him enough stuff, you know what I mean? I'd always give him money, give him whatever he needed. And he used to tell me, he says, I don't need money, Pop, I need love. I said, you have that already. I don't think you understand that. And he'd walk away. When he was young, he would ask me to discipline him. I never spanked my children. I always spanked a lot myself. I have beautiful parents, absolutely gorgeous parents, man. I learned a lot from them. That's who I am. And I thank them for that. I miss them and I love them. But anyway, Anthony, my son, said he couldn't hang with me because he quit. And to me, quit wasn't part of my vocabulary, you know? And I didn't see him for a while. I kept drinking, kept drinking, you know? I missed him, that's all I mean. I missed both my kids. And I kept going to church though, kept going to that Bible study. And then he called me one day, he says, when are you gonna quit? I went to Bible study that Sunday. And I'd been to rehab only 4 times, you know. That's 14 men. But he asked me, I don't think he realizes that, but he really did ask me, so when are you gonna quit, Pops? This one like 3 months after he decided that he was done. And that stuck in my head hard and deep, you know. It made me look back on my life and what I had become because of my actions and the things that I've done. And I hadn't slept probably for, I don't know, maybe 6 months. And that's on the real, man. You got much with me now, and he asked me, when are you gonna quit? That was all that was said, and he hung up. Well, that stuck in my head. That following Sunday, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. Actually, that was Saturday night we talked, and Sunday morning I'm getting ready for the Raider game, and you know, I got my both my 30 packs, two bottles of whiskey, and my drugs. I reached over for drugs, and instead of doing them, I found myself flushing. And I went throughout the whole house and getting rid of all my drugs, man. But the alcohol stayed. That was 2 years ago. And I can say proudly that, to this day I'm clean. Not what I want to do by any means, and I know this. Because left it to my devices in my mind, I'll go straight back to it. Not that I want or need the opportunity, because I have different choices in life now. A year later, I did the same thing with alcohol. Let me back up real quick. Before I decided to quit, I didn't decide to, somebody decided for me. I'll tell you that right now, bottom line. I fell to my knees that night, and I prayed, and just like that guy that I told you about that sat up here and fell to his knees, said at that moment I was saved. I never believed in that. I didn't like people like that. My whole life I would say, why can't I have that? I see these people up here with so much joy and beauty in their life. I see the radiate, just, man, it's beautiful land, guys. It's just so beautiful to see that. But not to have it, it's just an ugly thing. And I decided that night that I'm done now. I fell to my knees and I prayed. Still not really knowing how to pray or what to say. But I did, and the next morning I found myself throwing everything away. It took me approximately a year. A year later, I was still finding bags of dope, paraphernalia all over, everywhere. But I had no reason to pick it up again, which was cool. Same thing happened with the alcohol. Like I said, 2 years ago, anyway, I knew what it meant to be saved. This Jesus fellow, first of all, I didn't know I was supposed to be looking for him, let alone find him. But not knowing that he had always been there for me. It's the most amazing thing. I have a lot of physical issues, you guys. A year and a half ago, I was given 5 years to live because of my drinking and my drugs, drug use. But it's seriously physical. It messed me up really bad physically. But I was given 5 years to live a year and a half ago. 3 months after that diagnosis, I was given a year. Still not devoting my life fully and consciously together. 3 months before I decided to quit the alcohol, I was diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver. I quit drinking for 3 months, and then they diagnosed me with that. I'm like, oh, we got it now. But I thought I was going to think that, but I never thought that. It never crossed my mind. I was just happy that I had him in my life now. But anyway, let's do it. Thank you, brother. But anyway, yeah, that was over, almost about a year and 6 months ago now. Last month, 4 months ago, they took a tumor out of my stomach, which they found on accident because of checking on my liver. And that's why I was diagnosed, when you needed to live because of that. Last month, at the beginning of the month, they went back in to take the stitches out from the inside. They took more pictures of me. From the inside, another tumor had grown. The whole inside of my stomach was just all black, and they said they were going to take it all out and scrape it and do all that. And the doctor said once they had done that I'd probably have less time. Well, on the 4th of this month, I went in for that operation. The doctor, after the surgery, he had to tell me that they had to grab my file, look at my picture, and look at me laying on the table to make sure I had the right person. I had absolutely nothing inside my stomach.
That's right.
I'll tell you what, man, God is great. And, I've had a lot of important people in my life, but none compared to Jesus. I said that I love everybody, and I truly do, man, I really mean that. Not knowing the fact that I have always been loved, and fully loved, and not realizing what that meant, to be loved. I mean, I know how to give it, but I never really knew how to receive it. Man. I read diligently. Like I said, I didn't learn how to read, especially fully to the extent I do now. I speed read, and I write very well. But, man, the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, guys, the first thing come out of my mouth every morning without fail is good morning, Lord. Mm-hmm. Good morning, Lord. I thank Him for my life. I thank Him for the breath that I have in my lungs, man. And I especially thank Him for His word, and for caring about me, for loving me, man. Absolutely. And for seeing me through all the stuff that I put Him through. It says that God created. He created me. And when in Him, we know there are no mistakes. So therefore, I'm no mistake. And I really did not know that for the longest time. There's, in 1 Corinthians 13, I believe it is, talks about love. I remember the first time I read that, I thought I was reading my life story, man. That's why I love. And it's a beautiful thing. So I encourage everybody to reread that, man, and love that way. Because it says, you can have the faith of a moving mountain, but if you don't have love, you don't have that rain reading the wind, man. And I find that to be true. But make sure you reciprocate that love too. Give it as well as receive it. I'll tell you what, man. I was really nervous coming up here, but I'm not. I thought I was going to be, but I'm not. 2 weeks ago, when Pastor Nate asked me to do this, I was like, I'm wondering myself, I'm not going to do this. One time I'm talking from anybody was, at AA and NA meetings, which I only attended a handful of times because I started attending Celebrate Recovery, which was my way of cleanliness right there. Because it was God, His Spirit fulfilled. Now in my life, I can actually say now, for the first time in my life, that I have friends. Didn't know what those were. I had no idea. I have a family. I really do. I have people who love me, people that I love. More important than that, I have Jesus in my life, man. Amen. The things that man has done for me are just unimaginable to a lot of people. I get this opportunity, a wonderful and great opportunity to work. I've always had a forgiving heart and all that stuff, but to be able to help others, I'll tell you what, man, that is just the most beautiful thing that a person can do. I love doing that. Pastor Eric told me the other night, he said, what'd he say? That I delight in glory. And I do. And that is so cool. But I just want to, read the Bible, man, for real. A lot of people don't. They say they do, but they don't. I see it every day, I do, and I think that's the coolest thing in the world. But before I read, I do pray. And I pray for the understanding, the wisdom, and the knowledge of God. The courage to live by the Word. I pray for that. And I pray for the remembrance of the Word to pass it on to others. And to give me the desire to continue to read the Word. And I think that's just the most amazing thing in the world, man. And it's just awesome what God can do for us. And without asking. So can you imagine what more than we do us? And that's the real, man. About 6 months ago, I was baptized again. And this time I meet with a man. I took it seriously. And I have never looked back. I continue to live my life for God. And I give my life to Him. Whatever He wants to do with me is just fine with me, man. Because it's a lot better than what I do for myself. I just want to give Him thanks and praise now, all day, every day. without fail. I'm so happy that I met this woman, Anita, and with her I was able to start volunteering. I volunteered in another church in Waterford before, and I was just cleaning up the church, working on people's cars, doing stuff like that for people, mowing their yard, doing whatever, no big deal. But to me that's fun. But to be able to actually volunteer and help people, to feed them, clothe them, I've seen miracles happen, man. Not just in my life, but in the lives of others. I see them every day, When I get to love somebody, that's a miracle. Standing up here for me, it really truly is. But she taught me how to do a lot of beautiful things in life, man. Sorry. So I just seriously want to thank her for that. We go out, we feed the homeless. My neighbors, I help feed them. The other day, I had one of my neighbors come up and punch me in the face. The old me would have torn apart. No. I turned around, walked away, and started praying for that person. I've never done that. What an awesome feeling that is. It was great. I harbor no hate or resentment in my life, in my heart, I should say. Because I know how to care. God was that impossible, and I've always been that way since I was a little kid. But I didn't know none of this stuff until I met Jesus. And it was only because of him that my life is great and wonderful today. It's amazing. All the young people that I see, they come to church and they're spirit filled, man. That's just so amazing to me. It brings joy to my heart, to see these young people, loving and praising God. Why it take me so long? So if anybody's ever watching this or whatever, don't wait, man. Give yourself to him. Things will work out beautifully, just as the word intended to. My name's Eric Villalobos. Thank you so much.